The Senate will come to order. Senator Kerr, are you here? Senator Kerr? Senator Crowder, would you, oh, there's Senator Kerr. Senator Kerr, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
Thank you, Madam President. Would my colleagues and the folk in the gallery please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Majors, would you please take the roll?
Aguilar. Balmer. Baumgartner. Brophy. Cadman. Crowder. Grantham. Guzman. Harvey. Heath. Herpin. Hill. Hodge. Hodge. John. Johnston. Jones. Kafalis. Kerr. King. Lambert. Lundberg. Marble. Newell. Nicholson. Renfro. Rivera. Roberts. Scheffel. Schwartz. Stedman. Tocktrop. Todd. Ulibarri. Zenzinger. Madam President.
Here. With 35 present, 0 absent, 0 excused, the Senate has a quorum. Motion to adopt the journal, Senator Rivera.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the reading of the journal for April the 17th be dispensed with and the journal be approved as corrected by the Secretary.
All right. You heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Motion is adopted. Committee reports.
April 17, 2014. Madam President, the Committee on Health and Human Services has had under consideration and has had a hearing on the following appointment and recommends that the appointment be placed on the consent calendar and confirmed. Member of the University of Colorado Hospital Authority Board of Directors from the 7th Congressional District, Raymond Baker, for a term effective April 1st, 2014 and continuing until March 31st, 2017, or until his successor is appointed by the Board of Regents. This will be Mr. Baker's first term on the Hospital Authority Board of Directors. April 17, 2014, Committee on Health and Human Services. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1338 be referred favorably to the Committee on Legislative Counsel. April 17, 2014, Committee on Health and Human Services. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1213 be referred favorably to the Committee on Appropriations. April 17, 2014, Committee on Health and Human Services. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 159 be amended as follows and as so amended be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation. April 17, 2014, Committee on Health and Human Services. After consideration on the merits, the committee recommends the following. Senate Bill 3 be amended as follows and as so amended be referred to the Committee on Appropriations with favorable recommendation. April 17, 2014, Committee on Education. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1298 be amended as follows and as so amended be referred to the Committee on Finance with favorable recommendation. April 17, 2014, Committee on Education. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following. House Bill 1292 be amended as follows and as so amended be referred to the Committee on Finance with favorable recommendation.
Yes, I asked Morgan Carroll if I could do a quick
Senate Services.
point of personal privilege on the food that I brought.
April 21st, 2014, correctly printed, Senate Bills 206 and 207, Senate Joint Memorial 5, Senate Joint Resolution 33. Correctly engrossed, Senate Bills 181, 183, and 189, Senate Joint Resolutions 22 and 29. Correctly re-engrossed, Senate Bills 5, 124, and 133. Correctly revised, House Bills 1002, 1003, 1006, 1034, 1042, 1045, 1181, 1185, 1203, 1207, 1228, 1284, 1321, and 1339.
Message from the House.
April 17, 2014, Madam President, the House has adopted and returns herewith Senate Joint Resolution 29.
No problem. Thank you.
Members, please help me in welcoming a returning member of the General Assembly. The Honorable Jim Welker is with us on the floor this morning. Introduction of resolutions.
Senate Joint Resolution 34 by Senator Talktrop and Representative Moreno concerning the Colorado Day of Remembrance of the Armenian Genocide on April 24, 2014.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move we lay over Senate Joint Resolution 34 until April 24th.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Senate Joint Resolution 34 will lay over until April 24th.
Senate Joint Resolution 35 by Senators Sheffel and Jones and Representatives Lawrence and Vigil concerning the designation of April 28, 2014 as First Responder Appreciation Day.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move we lay over Senate Joint Resolution 35 until April 28th.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Senate Joint Resolution 35 will lay over until April 28th.
Senate Joint Resolution 36 by Senators Schwartz and Newell concerning celebrating the restoration of the State Capitol Dome.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that Senate Joint Resolution 36 lay over till April 29th.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Senate Joint Resolution 36 will lay over until April 29th. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move we proceed out of order for a brief moment of personal privilege for Senator Balmer.
For the motion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Moment of personal privilege out of order has been granted to Senator Balmer. Senator Balmer.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. Members, I brought two goodies for you to enjoy from Zabar's Deli in New York City. They are rugalash and also chocolate babka. You're asking, why isn't it cinnamon babka? Because chocolate babka is better than cinnamon babka, and it is available over here, and neither one of them have any marijuana in them, so you can eat them as much as you want. Thank you.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move we proceed out of order to hear third reading of bills consent calendar.
For the motion, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. We'll proceed out of order to take up third reading consent calendar. Mr. Majors, would you please read the titles to the bills on third reading consent? Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. There has been a request to remove House Bill 1006 from today's third reading of bills consent calendar and placed at the end of today's third reading of bills calendar.
Okay, House Bill 1006 will be removed from consent and placed at the end of third reading of bills calendar. Mr. Majors, would you please read the remaining titles on third reading consent?
House Bill 1321 by Representative Young and Senator King concerning the membership of the Colorado Task Force on Drunk and Impaired Driving. Senate Bill 189 by Senator Stedman and Representative Giroux concerning a 2014-15 state fiscal year transfer of $9,672,000 from the Controlled Maintenance Trust Fund to the General Fund for the purpose of supporting a fiscal year 2014-15 appropriation for the Colorado Firefighting Air Corps. House Bill 1003 by Representatives Nordberg and Sane and Senators Confalos and Lundberg concerning the exemption from state income tax of income that is earned by a non-resident individual working temporarily in the state to assist with disaster and emergency relief activities in connection therewith making and reducing appropriations. House Bill 1034 by Representative Williams and Senator John concerning the creation of a wine packaging permit to allow certain alcohol beverage licensees to package wine produced by another wine manufacturer and in connection therewith making an appropriation. House Bill 1042 by Representative Stain and Senator Toctrop concerning access by birth parents to records relating to the relinquishment of parental rights and in connection therewith making an appropriation. House Bill 1203 by Representative Duran and Senator Lambert concerning funding to maintain the infrastructure for the digital trunked radio system and in connection therewith making an appropriation. House Bill 1228 by Representatives Peniston and Zabo and Senators Toctrop and King concerning the repeal of certain requirements for defensive driving schools attended in accordance with a court order resulting from a violation of law regulating the operation of a motor vehicle and in connection therewith reducing an appropriation.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the adoption of all the bills in the third reading of bills consent calendar, which includes House Bill 1321, Senate Bill 189, House Bill 1003, 1034, 1042, 1203, and 1228.
Any discussion on any of the bills on third reading consent? Are there any no votes on any of the bills on third reading consent? Senator Balmer.
Thank you, Madam President. Madam President, I am a no vote on House Bill 1003. Thank you.
Senator Marble.
1003.
Thank you, Madam President. I am also a no vote on House Bill 1003.
The question is the adoption of the bills on third reading consent calendar. No votes have been recorded. With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, House Bill 1321 is adopted. Co-sponsors: Senator Stedman, Senator Newell, Senator Todd, Senator Kerr. With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, Senate Bill 189 is adopted. Co-sponsors: with 33 ayes, Senator Ulibarri is a co-sponsor on Senate Bill 189. Senator Roberts is as well. 189. Senator King. Senators Rivera, Johnston, Nicholson, Jones. Stedman is already on the bill. Senator Cadman, Mr. Minority Leader. Senators Todd, Schwartz, Herpin, Lambert, Shuffle. All righty. With 33 ayes, 2 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, House Bill 1003 is adopted. Co-sponsors: Senator Ulibarri, Senators Newell, Madam President Pro Tem, Senators Kerr, Mr. Majority Leader, Senator Nicholson, Mr. Minority Leader, Senator Rivera. Did you want to co-sponsor? Ambiguous. Is that a yes? It's a yes and no. Senators Todd, Schwartz, Herpin, Shuffle. Senator Rivera is a co-sponsor. Senator Grantham, Senator Toctrop. Senator Jones, Senator Renfro, Senator Zenzinger. Please add the President. With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1034 is adopted. Co-sponsors: Senators Kafalas, Stedman, Johnston, Toctrop, Rivera, Madam President Pro Tem, Senator Kerr. With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1042 is adopted. Co-sponsors: Senator Newell, Senators Kafalas, Nicholson, Madam President Pro Tem, Senator Kerr. Mr. Majority Leader, please add the President. With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, House Bill 1203 is adopted. Co-sponsors: Senator Roberts, Senator Herpin, Senators King, Rivera, Kerr, Nicholson, Newell, Todd. Senator Crowder, Senator John, Senator Schwartz, Senator Lundberg, Senator Lambert, with 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, House Bill 1228 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move we proceed out of order to third reading of bills calendar.
For the motion, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. We'll proceed out of order for third reading of bills. Mr. Majors, would you please, all in favor, oh, we already ruled on that. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to House Bill 1089?
House Bill 1089 by Representative Hamner and Senator Schwartz concerning the qualification for a person to use the 10th Mountain Division license plate.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move we lay over House Bill 1089 until April 28th.
For the motion, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. We'll lay over House Bill 1089 to April 28th. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to House Bill 1339?
House Bill 1339 by Representative Giroux and Senator Hodge concerning the creation of the Hazardous Substance Site Response Fund.
Senator Stedman.
Thank you, Madam President. I move House Bill 1339 on third reading and final passage, and I request permission to offer a third reading amendment.
Senator Stedman, please proceed to explain your request for permission.
This is something the drafter brought to me. It makes a small change to the amendment we did on the floor on Thursday morning last week to just delete reference to House Bill 1342, which is the capital construction transfer bill that was part of the budget package. What we did, colleagues, is this is part of providing the funding for the aerial firefighting fleet. This bill originally had a $10 million transfer in it. We took that transfer out and instead put it in line to receive wish list money later this year. And this is just a technical correction, so we don't refer to the bill number in this bill. And the drafter brought it to me this morning, and I would ask for your permission to offer the amendment.
Discussion on permission. Question is to grant permission to Senator Stedman to offer a third reading amendment. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. Senator Stedman, you're granted permission. Mr. Majors, would you please read L002?
Amendment L002 to House Bill 1339 by Senator Stedman, amendment revised bill, page 2, lines 10 and 11, strikes the arrest.
Thank you, Madam President. I move Amendment L002. And as I said, colleagues, all this does is strike reference to the bill number of House Bill 14-1342, which is that capital construction transfer bill. Otherwise, everything is left in place as we discussed it last Thursday. And instead of this bill making a $10 million transfer right away, it'll make a $10 million transfer if it gets lucky on the wish list.
Senator Lambert.
Thank you. I'll also ask for an aye vote on the amendment and on the bill.
Any further discussion on L002? Question is the adoption of L002. Are there any no votes? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, L002 is adopted. The question is the adoption of House Bill 1339 as amended. Is there any discussion? Are there any no votes? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, House Bill 1339 is adopted. Co-sponsors: Senator King, Senator Ulibarri, Senator Crowder, Senator Rivera, Senators Nicholson, Kafalis, Roberts, Mr. Majority Leader, Senator Newell. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Bill 183?
Senate Bill 183 by Senators Heath and Sheffel and Representatives Pabon and Holbrook concerning an increase in the maximum term of a business incentive agreement that a local government enters into with a taxpayer who pays business personal property tax.
Senator Sheffel.
Thank you, President Carroll. We move Senate Bill 183 on third reading for final passage and ask for an aye vote.
Any discussion? Question is the adoption of Senate Bill 183. Are there any no votes? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent. Senator Baumgartner, do you wish to be a no? on Senate Bill 183? Are there any other no votes on Senate Bill 183? With 34 ayes, 1 no, 0 absent, and 0 excused, Senate Bill 183 is adopted. Co-sponsors: Senator Kafalis, Mr. Minority Leader, Senators Newell, Kerr, Aguilar, Rivera, Crowder, Herpin, Zenzinger, Todd, Schwartz. Please add the president. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Bill 181?
Senate Bill 181 by Senators Renfro and Guzman and Representatives Ferrandino and Humphrey concerning the elimination of the use of automated vehicle identification systems for traffic law enforcement.
Senator Guzman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senator Renfro and I Madam President. Senator Renfro and I move Senate Bill 181 on third reading, final passage, and ask for an aye vote.
Any discussion? Senator Newell.
Thank you, Madam President. I will keep this short, but I just wanted to come back one more time, and I am sad to see that we have not been able to have any compromises on this bill, that we will see injury, we will see potential death due to this bill going through, and it is, I believe, an affront to local control at its most real level. So I am a strong no. Thank you.
Are there any no votes? Senators Rivera, Ulibarri, Mr. Majority Leader, Senators Aguilar, Kerr, Jones, Kafalis, Newell, Stedman, Hodge, Todd, Nicholson, Schwartz, Johnston. Senator Ulibarri, I've got you. Okay. With 21 ayes, 14 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, Senate Bill 181 is adopted. We'll do co-sponsors and then we'll recognize co-sponsors on Senate Bill 181. Senators Crowder, Baumgartner, Harvey, Lambert, Herpin, Lundberg, Mr. Minority Leader, Senator Shuffle, Senators Marble, Grantham, King, Hill, Grantham. You only get to co-sponsor once, Senator Grantham. Okay, 3 times? Senator Ulibarri.
Thank you, Madam President. I would request that my name be removed as a co-sponsor on Senate Bill 181.
Senator Ulibarri will be removed as a co-sponsor. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to House Bill 1002?
House Bill 1002 by Representative Young and Senator Jones concerning the establishment of a grant program under the Colorado Water Quality Control Act to repair water infrastructure impacted by a natural disaster and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move we re-refer House Bill 1002 to the Committee on Appropriations.
For the motion, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. House Bill 1002 will be referred back to the Committee on Appropriations. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to House Bill 1045?
House Bill 1045 by Representative Primavera and Senators Aguilar and Crowder concerning the continuation of the breast and cervical cancer prevention and treatment program in connection therewith making and reducing appropriations.
Senator Crowder.
Thank you, Madam President. I move 1045 forward and ask for a affirmative vote. Good bill.
Any discussion? Question is the adoption of House Bill 1045. Are there any no votes? Senator Hill, Senators Marble, Baumgartner, Lambert, Grantham, Lundberg, with 29 ayes, 6 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, House Bill 1045 is adopted. Co-sponsors: Senators Stedman, Newell, Zenzinger, Roberts, King, Nicholson, Toctrop, Mr. Majority Leader, Senators Kerr, Hodge, Todd, Schwartz, Jones. Please add the president. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to House Bill 1181?
House Bill 1181 by Representative Schaefer and Senator Gonzalez concerning the sunset review of the Nurse Physician Advisory Task Force for Colorado Healthcare and in connection therewith continuing the task force through September 1st, 2020.
Senator Gonzalez.
Thank you, Madam President. Good morning, colleagues. I move House Bill 1181 on third reading and final passage.
Any discussion? Question is the adoption of House Bill 1181. Are there any no votes? Senators Marble, Baumgartner, Brophy, Harvey, Lambert, Lundberg, Hill, Crowder, Shuffle, Mr. Minority Leader, Senators Renfro, Grantham, Herpin, Rivera. With 21 ayes, 14 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, House Bill 1181 is adopted. Co-sponsors: Senators Talktrop, Aguilar, Nicholson, Newell. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to House Bill 1185?
House Bill 1185 by Representative Kraft Harper, Senator John, concerning the issuance of travel insurance policies.
Senator John.
Thank you, Madam President. I move House Bill 1185 on third reading, final passage, and ask for an aye vote.
Any discussion? Question is its adoption. Are there any no votes? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1185 is adopted. Co-sponsors: Senator Todd. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to House Bill 1207?
House Bill 1207 by Representative Young and Senators Aguilar and Newell concerning the creation of the Household Medication Take-Back Program and in connection therewith making and reducing appropriations.
Senator Aguilar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We move House Bill 1207 on third reading and final passage and ask for an aye vote.
Any discussion? Question is the adoption of House Bill 1207. Are there any no votes? Senators Marble, Lundberg, Baumgartner, Harvey, Lambert, Brophy, Balmer, Grantham, Renfro, Shuffle.
Happy Easter. You too, madam. You look ravishing.
Senator Grantham, I've got you.
Need a little wake up here on Monday morning.
With 25 ayes, 10 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, House Bill 1207 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Senators Kafalis, Zenzinger, Schwartz, Kerr, Talktrop, Mr. Majority Leader, King, Hodge, Todd, Nicholson. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to House Bill 1284?
House Bill 1284 by Representatives Tyler and Quorum and Senators Todd and Crowder concerning registration with the Department of Revenue of distinguished license plates issued to members of the Colorado General Assembly.
Senator Todd.
Thank you, Madam President. Good morning. And I move House Bill 1284 on third reading and final passage and ask for an aye vote.
Senator Crowder.
Drive safely.
Any discussion? Question is the adoption of House Bill 1284. Are there any no votes? Senators Marble, Hill, Lundberg, Lambert, Baumgartner, Renfro, with 29 ayes, 6 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1284 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to House Bill 1006?
House Bill 1006 by Representative Singer and Senator Lundberg concerning the remittance of the marketing and promotion tax collected by lodging establishments in a local marketing district and in connection therewith making and reducing appropriations.
Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam President, I move House Bill 1006 and ask for favorable approval, however you do it.
Any discussion?
I don't get much experience here.
Question is the adoption of 1006. Are there any no votes? Senators Marble, Baumgartner. With 33 ayes, 2 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, House Bill 1006 is adopted. Co-sponsors. Senator Rivera. Mr. Majority Leader. Please add Senator Crowder as a co-sponsor to House Bill 1006. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move we reconsider House Bill 1003.
For the motion, all in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. We will reconsider House Bill 1003. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to House Bill 1003?
House Bill 1003 by Representatives Nordberg and Sane and Senators Kafalis and Lundberg concerning the exemption from state income tax of income that is earned by a non-resident individual working temporarily in the state to assist with disaster emergency relief activities and in connection therewith making and reducing appropriations.
Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Madam President. I move House Bill 1003 along with Senator Kafalis and ask for a favorable approval.
Any discussion? The question is the adoption of House Bill 1003. Are there any no votes? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, House Bill 1003 is adopted. Any additional co-sponsors on House Bill 1003? Senator Crowder, you weren't. Please add Senator Crowder as the co-sponsor. Senator Rivera, I've got you already. Senator John. Senator Jones. We got you. Senator Todd, you're already a co-sponsor. Committee reports.
April 17, 2014, Committee on Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Energy. After consideration of the merits, the committee recommends the following: House Bill 1216 be amended as follows, and as so amended, before the committee of the whole with favorable recommendation. April 17, 2014, Madam President, the Committee on Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Energy has had under consideration and has had a hearing on the following appointment and recommends that the appointment be confirmed. Member of the Oil and Gas Conservation Commission of the State of Colorado for a term expiring July 1st, 2015, James William Hawkins of Golden, Colorado, to serve as a member with substantial experience in the oil and gas industry and with a college degree in petroleum geology or petroleum engineering, and as a Democrat and occasioned by the resignation of Winston Perry Pierce of Denver, Colorado, appointed. April 17, 2014, Madam President, the Committee on Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Energy has had under consideration and has had a hearing on the following appointment, which recommends that the appointments be confirmed. Members of the Coal Mine Board of Examiners for terms expiring July 1st, 2017, Alan Reed Bales of Hotchkiss, Colorado, a coal mine owner, operator, manager, or other mine official actively engaged in underground mining, reappointed, and Gerald Justin Fedenik of Gray, Colorado, a coal mine owner, operator, manager, or other mine official actively engaged in surface mining industry, reappointed. April 17, 2014, Madam President, the Committee on Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Energy has had under consideration and has had a hearing on the following appointment and recommends that the appointment be confirmed. Members of the Colorado State Fair Authority Board of Commissioners for a term expiring November 1st, 2017, William Joseph Hibble of Colorado Springs, Colorado, a Republican residing in the 5th Congressional District, appointed. April 17, 2014, Madam President, the Committee on Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Energy has had under consideration and has had a hearing on the following appointment and recommends that the appointment be confirmed. Member of the Colorado Agricultural Development Authority Board of Directors for a term expiring June 30th, 2017, Randall A. Wilkes of Burlington, Colorado, Democrat, to serve as a member with knowledge of agricultural activity in the state and who shall represent the various agricultural operations and geographical regions of the state, reappointed. April 17, 2014, Committee on Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Energy, after consideration of the Merits Committee, recommends the following: Senate Bill 188 be referred favorably to the Committee on Appropriations.
Message from the House.
April 21st, 2014, Madam President, the House has adopted and transmits herewith House Joint Memorial 1001.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the Senate proceed out of order to consider House Joint Memorial 1001.
For the motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The Senate will proceed out of order to take up consideration of House Joint Memorial 1. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to House Joint Memorial 1?
House Joint Memorial 1001 by Representatives Rankin and Ferrandino and Senator Baumgartner, memorializing former Governor John Vanderhoof.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the Senate suspend the rules for the purposes of allowing former and current governors to address the Senate from the well while considering a memorial.
You've heard the motion to suspend the rules for purposes of allowing former and current governors to address the Senate from the well while considering the memorial. This vote requires 2/3 majority. All of those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The ayes have it, and that motion is adopted. Senator Baumgartner.
Thank you, Madam President. I move House Joint Memorial 14-1001 and ask for it to be read at length.
Mr. Majors, would you please read House Joint Memorial 1 at length?
Whereas, our respected former colleague, John Vanderhoof, a past member of the Colorado House of Representatives and former governor of Colorado, departed this life on September 19, 2013, at the age of 91. And whereas John D. Vanderhoof was born on May 27, 1922, in Rocky Ford, Colorado, to Roy E. and Irene Vanderhoof, and later moved to Fort Collins. And whereas Governor Vanderhoof attended Glendale College in Glendale, California after graduating from Fort Collins High School. And whereas Governor Vanderhoof enlisted in the Navy in 1942 and graduated from the Navy pilot program in 1943. And whereas as a Navy pilot during World War II, Governor Vanderhoof carried out numerous fighter missions and was part of the first aircraft to attack the island of Iwo Jima. And whereas during a mission over Legazpi Bay, Governor Vanderhoof's plane was damaged by ground fire and he was forced to eject from his plane, breaking his leg in the process. And whereas for his service and accomplishments in war, Governor Vanderhoof received the Distinguished Flying Cross, 2 Navy Crosses, and 3 Purple Hearts. And whereas Governor Vanderhoof requested a transfer to Glenwood Springs to recover from the injuries he sustained. And whereas after his rehabilitation, Governor Vanderhoof decided to make Glenwood Springs his permanent home, starting Van's Sporting Goods store and also participating in the opening of Glenwood Independent Bank and the Bank of Glenwood. And whereas his interest in community politics led Governor Vanderhoof to run for the Colorado House of Representatives in 1950. And whereas after winning the seat, Governor Vanderhoof would go on to serve the state in many capacities over the course of 25 years, including Minority Leader, Majority Leader, Speaker of the House, Lieutenant Governor, and Governor. And whereas as a member of the House of Representatives from 1950 to 1970, Governor Vanderhoof served as chair of the Game and Fish Committee and the Business Affairs Committee. And whereas in 1970 he was elected lieutenant governor with then Governor John Love. And whereas after Governor Love left office to join the Nixon administration, John Vanderhoof became the 37th governor of Colorado on July 16, 1973. And whereas after retiring from politics in 1975, Governor Vanderhoof relocated to Grand Junction and remained involved in community efforts, becoming the president of Club 20, a nonpartisan organization dedicated to uniting and promoting the Western Slope. And whereas for his dedication and service, Club 20 created the John D. Vanderhoof Award to honor citizens for outstanding service and dedication to Western Colorado. And whereas his decades of service to his community and to Colorado made Governor Vanderhoof a highly respected public servant, citizen, and friend. And whereas it is fitting that we, the members of the 69th General Assembly, pay tribute to the dedicated service of Governor John Vanderhoof and express our deep regret and sorrow occasioned by his death. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the House of Representatives of the 69th General Assembly of the State of Colorado, the Senate concurring herein, that in the death of John Vanderhoof, the people of the State of Colorado have lost a dedicated public servant and outstanding citizen, and that we, the members of the 69th General Assembly, do hereby extend our deep and heartfelt sympathy to the members of his family and pay tribute to a man who served his state well and faithfully. Be it further resolved that copies of this joint memorial be sent to Governor Vanderhoof's sons, Bruce Vanderhoof and Tom Craig, and daughters Linda Vanderhoof, Cindy Epple, Kathy LaPlante, and Nancy Guccini.
Senator Baumgartner.
Thank you, Madam President. Please be seated. Although I did not serve with Governor Vanderhoof personally, I'm honored and humbled that I was asked as the senator that represents his home district, to bring the memorial to the Senate. He was one of only 2 governors from the West Slope, and much of his life was spent advocating and promoting the interests of Western Colorado. He was born along the Arkansas River in Rocky Ford, Colorado, and being part of the greatest generation, he served in the U.S. Navy Air Corps, and a lot of people that served at that time knew them as Airedales. And he flew an F-4F Wildcat fighter plane, served while serving in the Pacific Theater, earning multiple medals, including the Navy Cross and the Purple Heart. Because of his related injuries, he was hospitalized in a converted Hotel Colorado in Glenwood Springs. And while he was there, he decided to stay in Glenwood Springs, Colorado. And that's where he recovered. Like so many men of his generation, he came home determined to build a better America. He was one of the pioneers of the ski industry in Aspen after World War II. Along with family members, he opened the sporting goods store and 2 banks in Glenwood Springs. Believing in public service, he was elected in 1950 to the House of Representatives, where he served 20 years, and was elected Speaker of the House. In 1971, John Vanderhoof was the first lieutenant governor elected under new laws combining the office of the governor's ticket in the election. As lieutenant governor, he also served as president of the Senate. When Governor Love joined the Nixon administration, he became the governor and served 2 years. After leaving office, he led Club 20 to help promote Western Slope economic and political goals. A former representative of the state, Gail Berry, says that how supportive, they called him Johnny Van, and most of his friends knew him by that, not Governor Vanderhoof. But how supportive Johnny Van was of our state employees. He spent several hours talking about state government and the responsibilities of serving, and then stated that one of the most important things is to take care of state employees. That is especially important to the Western Slope because we are removed from the central offices in Denver. The state employees work hard for us, take care of your constituents, and we need to always be mindful to take care of them. I had some other statement, but some of the family members are here and would like to, I believe, address the body. So at this time,
Senator Baumgartner, we've relaxed the rules from former governors, but others not in the well. So at this point, the Senate will go ahead and stand in recess to act on the motion you've already approved to allow our distinguished former governors to address the Senate in the well. The Senate will stand in recess. Which governor would like to speak first? Governor Lamb.
Thank you for your invitation, and thank you for your service. I entered the Colorado legislature in 1967. Johnny Van was Speaker of the House. I was 32 years old, couldn't find the men's room, but the awe of Johnny Vanderhoof, his presence, his dignity, his decorum. The House, anyway, had been a pretty tumultuous place the preceding 2 or 4 years. There were fist fights, actually, on the floor of the House. We had one of our representatives, Doc Lamb, who insisted on bringing a gun into the floor of the House. LAMB was no relation. There was this representative, Marshall Quiet. Back in those days, if you controlled the bill, you controlled the destiny of the bill. There was no way around it. And some people were trying to get this bill away from Marshall Quiet, and he crawled out on the balcony, on the ledge outside the committee room hearing, stayed out there a half an hour till the State Patrol came to rescue him. Johnny Van Wood had none of that when he was there. He wanted a dignified place with decorum that would get the people's business done, and he did. He was, he would clear, twice I saw him clear the whole balcony when there was a demonstration. He would not, he honored the House and he wanted it to run well. I went and looked at the 1967 class. And you know, they're mostly gone now. But there is nobody on that picture that served his state or his nation better than Johnny Van. Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Would any of our other governors care to address the Senate? Governor Ritter.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the Senate, the Vanderhoof family, Governor Hickenlooper, Governor Lamb. It's great to be back in this august chambers again and to see all of you and get to reflect a little bit on Governor Vanderhoof. While I was governor, I stopped in to see him and just to introduce myself. Been governor for probably about a year, and we sat for an hour and reflected on his service. And so today, as you remember him in this memorial, I'm going to harken back to that reflection of his. And it's interesting that so much of it was about how proud he was of his service, but of the civility within his service and of the things that he was able to do and able to get done, both as a House member, Speaker of the House, Lieutenant Governor, and then eventually Governor, in a way of sort of finding common ground. And actually, he was quite proud of Colorado in that regard as a state that was set apart from other places, modernizing governance in the 20th century, but also able to do it in a collegial way. It was interesting just to be sort of with a person who served like he did for as long as he did and had the public service that he did, and to hear him reflect not about the battles or the rancor or the campaigns, even those that he lost, but about the successes and about the civility within that. And it really is, as you close down sort of the session this year, those last couple weeks can be a little difficult if my memory serves me correct, both as it relates to you getting things done between the House and the Senate, but also, you know, in a partisan fashion. I think Governor Vanderhoof was very proud of the fact that his life of service was characterized by trying to bring people together and trying to work together and trying to do it in a flavor that was both civil and respectful. Final kind of cute story is then I was contacted while I was governor by these people who had given a group, an organization, had given moon rocks. It was NASA. Given moon rocks to each of the states, 2 apiece, and they began to sort of look for where the moon rocks were all those years later. And I actually was in high school when all this happened, so when they called me and said, "Where's the other Colorado moon rock?" I said, "I have no idea." And I decided just to call Governor Vanderhoof and see if he had any recollection. And Governor Vanderhoof said, "Well, yeah, it's here. It's hanging on my wall." He thought it was a personal gift as governor, and so he said, "You know, I've been trying to give it away to universities. Universities won't take it." I said, "Well, don't do that right yet. The state's going to take it because it's worth about $5 million, according to Wikipedia." So we had troopers go over and pick it up, and he was, I think, laughing about that, right, that he had tried to give it to a variety of universities and wasn't able to. But it's an honor to be back here. It's great to be in this building. I know what challenges you have in the work before you in the next couple of weeks, but this is such an important way to memorialize somebody and to remember them, but also to remember that their life of service was characterized by this thing that seems a little different than maybe that last 2 weeks can seem, by civility and by common ground and by collegiality and by this respect that was reflected in all he said in his own remembrance of his time in office. So thank you all, and God bless you.
Governor Hickenlooper.
Good morning, Senators, Senator Cadman. Thank you, Madam President. I want to recognize both Governor Ritter, Governor Lamb, the family of Governor Vanderhoof. Governor Vanderhoof served our state with great distinction and served our country with great distinction. I met him a couple times when I was running for governor. I stopped by and visited him, and then after I was elected, stopped by and visited him again. And he was very proud of his life of public service and how much he'd done. My mother's first husband had been shot down a couple times, as had Governor Vanderhoof, so we kind of compared notes with the story from my family and what his experiences had been. He was very direct in terms of the things I should be thinking about as a new governor. Certainly water was the first thing he talked about. Adamant that we protect the existing compacts that we have and make sure that Colorado water stays in Colorado. But he was also a great believer that infrastructure mattered and that we had to work together to figure out what our priorities would be and what we would get done. As was said, he served 20 years in the House as a speaker, as lieutenant governor, and then as the governor. He really believed with his heart and soul that we all, every citizen, had an obligation towards public service in one way or another, and that his goal was to leave the community better off than he found it. I think in that regard, and in so many other regards, he was clearly successful. He had a wonderful charisma about him. He was his late 80s when I got to talk to him, and was as sharp as a tack, and again, very, I won't say blunt, but very direct in terms of his observations. We went back and looked at the first speech he gave as a newly minted governor to the General Assembly on July 16th, 1973. And I think these words are, carry the same weight today as they did back then. In that sense, they're almost timeless. He said, "We have here in Colorado a splendid record of civic pride and self-sacrifice upon which to build. Let us so conduct ourselves in the days and months ahead that people in the aftertime will say of all of us, as one people forged together in government, that we, with God's help, built better than we knew." I hope that we can all honor the memory of Governor Vanderhoof by, as he did, make sure that we leave Colorado a better place than we found it. Thank you.
Thank you. Governors, for joining us. The Senate will come back to order. Senator Baumgartner.
And thank you, Madam President. There is some more thoughts that I'd like to speak here this morning from his daughter, Linda Vanderhoof. Thursday evening, a great man left this world. A member of World War II generation, served in the U.S. Navy Air Corps, in the Pacific Theater, earning multiple medals, including the Navy Cross and the Purple Heart. Like so many men of the generation, he came home determined to build a better world, better America that he was born into. He convinced his war bride and his father to start a sporting goods store in a sleepy little tourist town, Glenwood Springs, Colorado. Later, his brother would join them in opening up a banking business. He raised 2 children and entered politics. He served 20 years in the House of Representatives, many of those years serving as Speaker of the House. He was elected to the office of Lieutenant Governor in 1970 and later ascended to the office of Governor to the great state of Colorado and worked to promote the economic and political good for Colorado's 20 western slope counties. He married his real soulmate, Ruthie. This was my father, John D. Vanderhoof. The greatest lesson he taught me was the importance of service. He always told me we must give back to our community, did not matter how. If one taught church school, participated in the PTA, volunteered at the local food bank, a summer reading program, it did not matter. It was just important that we give back to our communities. In his first State of the State address, he ended with a statement which she said she could only paraphrase, and it was, "Leave Colorado better than we found her." He would advise all of us to extend that concept to our neighborhoods, our hometowns, our state, and our great nation. If we want a better life for ourselves and those who follow, we must follow the lead of the great generation and put the well-being of all of us ahead of our own. We must spend some time and energy serving our communities. He did, and he will be missed. Madam President, at this time, I'd like to introduce some guests.
Please proceed.
Lois Jean Johnson, as I call your name, please stand. Sister and friend. Linda Vanderhoof, daughter. Georgia Dye, niece of John Vanderhoof and Terry Dye, husband. Christopher Jennifer, stepson. And Clint Johnston, nephew. If you would, please welcome them to the chamber.
Senator Baumgartner.
Thank you, Madam President. At this time, I'd like to renew my motion on House Joint Memorial 14-1001.
The question is the adoption of House Joint Memorial 1001.
Roll call vote.
A roll call vote has been requested.
And chimes.
Chimes are playing in honor of the life and memory of Governor Vanderhoof. Mr. Majors, please poll the senators.
Aguilar. Aguilar, aye. Balmer. Balmer, aye. Baumgartner. Baumgartner, aye. Brophy. Brophy, aye. Cadman.
Aye.
Cadman, aye. Crowder. Crowder, aye. Grantham. Grantham, aye. Guzman. Guzman, aye. Harvey. Harvey, aye. Heath. Heath, aye. Herpin. Herpin, aye. Hill. Hill, aye. Hodge. Hodge, aye. John. John, aye. Johnston. Johnston, aye. Jones. Jones, aye. Kafalis. Kafalis, aye. Kerr. Kerr, aye. King. King, aye. Lambert. Lambert, aye. Lundberg. Lundberg, aye. Marble. Marble, aye. Newell. Newell, aye. Nicholson. Nicholson, aye. Renfro. Renfro, aye. Rivera. Rivera, aye. Roberts. Roberts, aye. Shuffle. Shuffle, aye. Schwartz. Schwartz, aye. Stedman. Stedman, aye. Talktrop. Talktrop, aye. Todd. Todd, aye. Ulibarri. Ulibarri, aye. Zenzinger. Zenzinger, aye. Madam President.
Aye.
Madam President, aye.
With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, House Joint Memorial 1001 is adopted. Senator Baumgartner.
Thank you, Madam President. I request that the morning roll call be added as co-sponsors.
Any objection? Seeing none, the morning roll call will be added as co-sponsors to House Joint Memorial 1001, and the Senate will stand in a brief recess to allow members to greet our guests. The Senate will come back to order. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move we proceed out of order to consideration of House amendments to Senate bills.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The Senate will proceed out of order to take up consideration of House amendments to Senate bills. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Bill 158?
Senate Bill 158 by Senators Stedman and Jones and Representative Hollinghorst concerning the harmonization of statutory recall election provisions with the recall provisions in the state constitution to reflect the manner in which contemporary elections are conducted, and in connection therewith aligning a circulator regulation and petition requirements with initiative and referendum circulator and petition requirements.
Senator Stedman.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the Senate concur in House amendments to Senate Bill 158.
Thank you, Senator Stedman. Please proceed to explain the House changes.
Thank you, Madam President. There were a couple small amendments the House did that are really just clarification issues. They did amend the bill to clarify how the voting service center and polling center requirements are to be calculated, how many service centers you have to conduct a recall election. They allowed recall ballots for those voters covered by the Uniform Overseas Citizens Absentee Voting Act, UOCAVA, to be sent separately in the event that the recall election is close enough to the general election that the two get combined. There would still be a separate ballot on the recall ballot that's mailed out as part of that election. There was an amendment that actually Representative Nordberg worked up with Representative Hollinghorst on to allow UOCAVA voters to transmit their ballots via electronic methods in recall elections so that timeliness is less of a factor for them. And there's one spot where we left out the phrase designated election official after the word governor. It's always either the governor or the designated election official that sets the date for the recall election, and that designated official got left out in one place, and they corrected that inadvertent omission. They're really just minor technical clarifying amendments, and I'd ask for an aye vote on the motion to concur.
Any discussion on the motion to concur? Senator Harvey.
Thank you, Madam President. Senator Stedman, from my understanding of the Constitution, it is the governor that sets the date of the election, not a designated election official. What is the amendment speaking to that the House put in there regarding a designated election official? Because what we're talking about is state offices that are being recalled, not local offices that are being recalled. So why would we need to put in a designated election official in place of the Constitution when it specifically says the governor will be making that determination?
Senator Stedman.
Thank you, Madam President. And throughout the bill, if you've studied it, it has references to governor or designated election official. And this was one place in where that was omitted, and so they added it back in. It's really a technical. Designated election official is a defined term in the bill, and there are a number of places where you will find that language referring to the governor or the designated election official. There's lots of places where specifically responsibilities in the administration of these elections is charged to the designated election official. That's just the way the bill's drafted.
The question is the motion for the Senate to concur with House amendments to Senate Bill 158. Are there any no votes? Mr. Minority Leader, Senators Harvey, Baumgartner, Crowder, Lambert, Shuffle, Renfro, Grantham, Marble, Herpin, Brophy, Lundberg, Balmer, Hill, Roberts, King, Rivera. With 18 ayes, 17 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, the Senate concurs with House amendments to Senate Bill 158. Senator Jones.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for the repassage of Senate Bill 158.
Any discussion? Question is the readoption of Senate Bill 158. Senator Harvey, discussion?
Thank you.
Senator Harvey.
Thank you, Madam President. Again, folks, this is the bill that unconstitutionally amends the Constitution. I would ask for a no vote.
The question is the repassage of Senate Bill 158. Are there any no votes? Mr. Minority Leader, Senators Shuffle, Renfro, Crowder, Baumgartner, Lambert, Harvey, Herpin, Marble, Brophy, Grantham, Rivera, Roberts, King, Hill, Balmer. With 19 ayes, 16 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, Senate Bill 158 is readopted. Additional co-sponsors. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. We're going to move on now to the bills under the notice of intent to reconsider. These were all passed last week, and various members asked to have their vote rethink their vote, so we're going to do that. So, Madam President, having voted on the prevailing side, I move for the immediate reconsideration of Senate Bill 165.
For the motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The Senate will reconsider Senate Bill 165. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Bill 165?
Senate Bill 165 by Senators Johnston and Kerr and Representatives Murray and Peniston concerning the percentage at which to rate the student academic growth standard for the purpose of licensed personnel performance evaluations in the 2014-15 academic year.
Senator Johnston.
Thank you, Madam President. We move Senate Bill 165 again and ask for an aye vote.
Any discussion? Question is the adoption of Senate Bill 165 on third reading. Are there any no votes? Senators Marble, Baumgartner, Harvey, Lambert, Brophy, Lundberg, Renfro, Hill, Grantham. With 26 ayes, 9 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, Senate Bill 165 is adopted. Additional co-sponsors. Message from the House.
April 21st, 2014, Madam President, in response to the request of the Senate for the recall of Senate Bill 5 and Senate Bill 124, the bills are transmitted herewith.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the Senate recall Senate Bill 124 from the House for the purpose of reconsidering the bill. Members, we passed this bill on Thursday and offered notice of intent to reconsider, but by the time we offered the notice, the House had already introduced the bill, so we need to recall it from them in order to take it up on reconsideration.
The question is to recall Senate Bill 124 for purposes of reconsideration. Are there any no votes? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 124 is recalled. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Bill 124?
Senate Bill 124 by Senators Zenzinger and Representative Fields concerning programs to develop leaders for low-performing public schools and in connection therewith making an appropriation.
Senator Zenzinger.
Thank you, Madam President. I renew my motion for the readoption of Senate Bill 124 on third reading.
Any discussion? Question is the adoption of Senate Bill 124. Are there any no votes? Senators Marble, Crowder, Baumgartner, Harvey, Lambert, Lundberg, Grantham, Shuffle, Renfro. Mr. Minority Leader, Senators King, Hill, Balmer, Herpin. With 21 ayes, 14 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, Senate Bill 124 is adopted. Additional co-sponsors. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the Senate recall Senate Bill 5 from the House for the purpose of reconsidering the bill. Members, this bill is in the same status as Senate Bill 124, which we just did.
The question is the recall of Senate Bill 5 for purposes of reconsideration. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The Senate will recall Senate Bill 5. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Bill 5?
Senate Bill 5 by Senator Ulibarri and Representative Singer and Duran concerning alternative administrative remedies for the processing of certain wage claims in connection therewith amending the provisions for written notices of a wage claim and in connection therewith making and reducing appropriations.
Senator Ulibarri, or Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. Having voted on the prevailing side, I move for the reconsideration of Senate Bill 5.
For the motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The Senate will reconsider Senate Bill 5. Senator Ulibarri.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for the adoption of Senate Bill 5 on third reading and final passage and ask for an aye vote.
Any discussion? The question is the adoption of Senate Bill 5. Are there any no votes? Senators, Mr. Minority Leader, Senators Shuffle, Crowder, Baumgartner, Harvey, Lambert, Brophy, Herpin, Lundberg, Marble, Grantham, Renfro, Balmer, Hill. With 21 ayes, 14 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, Senate Bill 5 is adopted. Additional co-sponsors. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for the reconsideration of Senate Bill 158.
The motion is to reconsider Senate Bill 158. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. We will reconsider Senate Bill 158. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Bill 158?
Senate Bill 158 by Senators Stedman and Jones and Representative Hollinghorst concerning the harmonization of statutory recall election provisions with the recall provisions of the state constitution to reflect the manner in which contemporary elections are conducted, and in connection therewith the landing circulator regulation and petition requirements for the initiative and referendum circulator and petition requirements.
Senator Stedman.
Thank you, Madam President. Once again, I move for the adoption of Senate Bill 158 as amended by the House amendments.
Any discussion? The question is the readoption of Senate Bill 158. Are there any no votes? Mr. Minority Leader, Senator Shuffle, Crowder, Baumgartner, Harvey, Lambert, Brophy, Herpin, Lundberg, Marble, Grantham, Senator Renfro, Senators Rivera, King, Roberts, Balmer, Hill. With 18 ayes, 17 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, Senate Bill 158 is readopted. Any additional co-sponsors? Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. We're going to now move on to consideration of governor's appointments on consent.
The motion is to take up governor's appointments on consent. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. We'll take up consideration of governor's appointments consent calendar. Mr. Majors, would you please read the appointments on the consent calendar?
Member of the State Housing Board for term expiring January 31st, 2015, Raymond Timothy Hudner of Grand Junction, Colorado, a Republican resident of the 3rd Congressional District, to fill the vacancy occasioned by the resignation of James A. Coyle of Grand Junction, Colorado, Democrat and resident of the 3rd Congressional District. Member of the State Board of Parole, effective April 21st, 2014, for a term expiring July 1st, 2014. Marjorie Barbara Lewis, Ph.D. of Denver, Colorado, to fill the vacancy occasioned by the resignation of Anthony Young of Colorado Springs, Colorado, and to serve as a citizen representative appointed. Further, for a term expiring July 1st, 2017, Marjorie Barbara Lewis, Ph.D. of Denver, Colorado, to serve as a citizen representative reappointed.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for the confirmation of the appointments on the consent calendar, which includes a member of the State Housing Board and a member of the State Board of Parole.
You've heard the motion. Any discussion on any of the appointments? Seeing none, the question is the confirmation of the appointees on the consent calendar. Are there any no votes on any of the appointments? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, Raymond Timothy Hudner is confirmed to the State Housing Board. With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, Marjorie Barbara Lewis is confirmed and reappointed to the State Board of Pearl. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. We are now going to proceed to consideration of conference committee reports, which would be Senate Bill 131 with Senator King.
The motion is to take up conference committee reports at this time. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. We will take up conference committee reports. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Bill 131?
Senate Bill 131 by Senator King and Representative Wright concerning the removal of certain identifying information from a motor vehicle registration card.
Senator King.
Thank you, President Carroll. We move to accept the first conference committee on Senate Bill 131.
That is a proper motion. Senator King, go ahead and proceed to explain what the conference committee did.
Thank you, President Carroll. Basically, if you remember, this was a bill that takes the address and the signature off of your registration. One of the concerns that the House had was the idea that you could use your registration to vote. At conference committee, Senator Todd came up with a great idea to deal with this, and that would be that one of the registrations that you're sent will have the address and on it, and also a disclosure saying, for security purposes, put this one in your permanent records. The other one goes in your car and will not have the address on it, and will again say, for security reasons, this is the one that needs to go in your car. So we would ask for an aye vote in reference to Senate Bill 131. I think it's a good compromise.
Any discussion on the conference committee report? The motion is to adopt the first conference committee report on Senate Bill 131. Are there any no votes? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, and 0 excused, the conference committee report is adopted. For repassage, Senator King.
Thank you, President Carroll. I move Senate Bill 131 on readoption and ask for an aye vote.
Any discussion? Question is readoption of Senate Bill 131 as amended by the conference committee. Are there any no votes? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, Senate Bill 131 is readopted. Any additional co-sponsors? Mr. Minority Leader, I think you're actually not yet. Mr. Minority Leader is a co-sponsor. It sounded vaguely familiar. Senator Todd is a co-sponsor. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. We're going to go back now to the second reading calendar, so I move we proceed out of orders and return to general order second reading of bills consent calendar.
Before the motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. The ayes have it. The Senate will resolve itself into, oh wait, actually we're going out of, the motion is to go out of order. All of those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. We will take up general order second reading consent calendar next. General order second reading of bills consent calendar. Senator, Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. Yes, I would move the request has been made to remove Senate Bill 184 from the consent calendar and be placed at the end of general reading, second reading of bills.
Senate Bill 184 will be removed from consent and added to the end of general order second reading of bills calendar. Good. I was wondering who was chairing. General order, second reading of bills, consent calendar. Senator Ulibarri.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the Senate resolve itself into the Committee of the Whole for consideration of general order, second reading of bills, consent calendar.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The Senate will resolve itself into a committee of the whole for purpose of considering general orders, second reading of bills, consent calendar, and Senator Ulibarri will take the chair.
The committee will come to order and the court rule is relaxed. Mr. Majors, would you please read the titles to all the bills on the general order, second reading of bills, consent calendar?
House Bill 1313 by Representative McLaughlin and Senator Nicholson concerning a requirement that the owner of a pet animal provide a valid rabies vaccination certificate prior to registering the animal with the county. Senate Bill 162 by Senator Nicholson and Representative Mitch Bush concerning quality management programs for emergency medical service providers providing care in the pre-hospital setting.
Majority Leader Heath.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the adoption of all the bills listed in the general order, second reading of bills consent calendar, which includes House Bills 1313 and Senate Bill 162.
Is there any discussion? The motion before the body is the adoption of all the bills on general order, second reading of bills consent calendar. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the bills on the consent calendar are adopted. Majority Leader Heath.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move we rise and report.
The motion is for the body to rise and report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come back to order. Senator Ulibarri.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee has had a number of bills under consideration. Mr. Majors, would you please read the report?
April 21st, 2014, Madam President, your committee of the whole basic reports under consideration. The following tax bills being second reading thereof makes following recommendations are on. Senate Bill 162 passed on second reading in order to regress place the counter for third reading final passage. House Bill 1313 passed on second reading in order to revise place the counter for third reading and final passage.
Senator Ulibarri.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the adoption of the report.
Any discussion? Seeing none, the question is the adoption of the report. Are there any no votes? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, the committee report is adopted. Senate Bill 162 passed on second reading and ordered, engrossed, and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. House Bill 1313 passed on second reading, ordered, revised, and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Special orders, second reading of bills calendar. Senator Ulibarri.
Thank you, Madam President. I move the committee resolve itself into the committee of the whole for purposes of consideration of special orders, second reading of bills calendar.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The Senate will resolve itself into a committee of the whole for purpose of considering special orders, second reading of bills calendar, and Senator Ulibarri will take the chair.
The committee will come to order and the court rule is relaxed. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Bill 12?
Senate Bill 12 by Senator Kafalas, Representative Exum, concerning the program for aid to the needy disabled.
Senator Kafalas.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move Senate Bill 12 and the Health and Human Service and Appropriations Committee reports.
To the Health and Human Services Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In the Health and Human Services Committee, we basically made two changes. One is on page 3 of the bill. We changed the shall to a may, and this concerns when people apply for the Aid to Needy and Disabled program regarding their requirements to apply for the Supplemental Security, SSI. So a shall was turned back to may on page 3, and also we tightened up the bill title to say that this bill concerns increasing the assistance payment for the Aid to Needy and Disabled. I respectfully ask for your support of the committee report.
Is there any further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of the Health and Human Services Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee report is adopted. To the Appropriations Committee report, Senator Kafalas.
Thank you. Thank you kindly, Mr. Chair. The Appropriations Committee report on April 16th, there were two main provisions. The first part, if you look at the first page of the committee report, has to do with giving the State Department more flexibility, the counties, to waive the requirement regarding the applying for the SSI benefits. So when someone is determined to apply for the A&D program, they need to also apply for SSI. There's typically a time frame within which they must submit that application. This gives the counties the ability to establish some rules and create some more flexibility so those applications can be done in a more thoughtful manner and thereby have a greater chance for success. That is the first part of the Appropriations Committee report. And the second part is addressing page 3 of the bill, and essentially what we are doing here is addressing the fiscal impact of this bill, and the language in here basically reduces the fiscal impact in fiscal year 15 to about $1.5 million, and the goal, the way this is written, it's an increase of 10% over the next few years, and then COLA, but I do have an amendment to the Appropriations Committee report once we adopt the Appropriations Committee report.
Is there any further discussion to the committee report? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the report is adopted. Mr. Majors, there's an amendment on the desk. Please read L004.
Amendment L004 to Senate Bill 12 by Senator Kefauver. Amend the Appropriations Committee report dated April.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And colleagues, as I mentioned earlier, the amendment L004 is, you may have seen an updated fiscal note on your desk, but this L004 is addressing the out years fiscal note. And so it's basically saying that in fiscal year 15, we will be increasing the A&D cash assistance amount about 10% from $175 a month to about $193 a month. And then the years thereafter, we are leaving it up to the State Department. We are encouraging them to increase the amount within the available appropriations to get it to the fiscal year 07 amount, which was about $230 a month, and then thereafter adjust it to cost of living. And so we're taking it out of obligating future legislators, and we're putting it in the hands of the State Department based on available appropriations to make these increases over the next few years. I ask for your adoption of L004.
Senator Kefauver, will you please move L004?
Yes, I believe that would be helpful. I move L004. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on L004? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of L004. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is adopted. To the bill, Senator Kefauver.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And again, colleagues, thanks for your attention. I'm happy to answer any questions on any of the amendments or the content of the bill. But essentially, Senate Bill 12 is concerning the Aid to Needy and Disabled program. For those of you who may not know, the state established the A&D program back in 1953. Basically, in order to qualify for the Aid to Needy and Disabled program, one has to be medically certified to not be able to work, precluded from work because of a disability, and there has to be a medical certification at least 6 months. People who apply for A&D typically apply for the SSI, and the folks who benefit from this, many of them are homeless, persons who are homeless, veterans who are homeless, and we set this up as a temporary assistance program, cash assistance only. Once people are determined to be eligible for supplemental security income, the feds will reimburse from the time of the application, and so typically in the following fiscal year, there is a reimbursement to help offset some of the costs of the A&D program. And again, the goal here is to try to increase the cash assistance amount to folks. We're serving about 8,000 people around the state, and currently those folks are receiving on average $175 a month, and this is basically a lifeline to help some of our most vulnerable citizens survive until they can either go back to work or be able to qualify for long-term or permanent disability. I ask for your support of Senate Bill 12.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 12? Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Members, I did vote for this in committee, and some folks on my side of the aisle are wondering why. This is why. Because as I saw it and as I heard it described, yes, it is an increase. It's an increase for those who are at the bottom of the rung, basically. And I believe there is a role for state government to help the most needy as a safety net, period. Period. That's the problem is we continue on with more entitlements and grow the pot until everybody is feeling they're entitled to something. This is dealing with those who are medically incapable of anything else and are transitioning to the Social Security side, which is essentially that same safety net at the federal level. Now, we either come to terms with none of this or we put it and adjust it for the rates that are appropriate. And that's why I did support it. And I won't be doing that too often, as folks on this side of the aisle know as well. But that's why I did. And thus far, unless I learn more that convinces me otherwise, I'll continue to be a yes vote on this bill.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 12. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and Senate Bill 12 passes. Mr. Majors, would you please read the title to Senate Bill 14?
Senate Bill 14 by Senator Kafalos and Representative Pedersen concerning the property-related expense assistance grants for low-income seniors and individuals with disabilities.
Senator Kafalos.
Thank you, thank you, Mr. Chair, forgive me. I move Senate Bill 14 and the Health and Human Services Committee report, as well as the Appropriations Committee report.
To the Health and Human Services Committee report. Senator Kafalos.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Colleagues, in the Health and Human Services Committee report, on page 1, basically we changed the language of the bill to achieve the goal. The property tax rent heat rebate program is a program that helps low-income seniors, 65 and older, persons with disabilities and others stay in their homes longer. And based on qualified rental expenses or heat expenses, they are able to secure a rebate which helps them offset some of the costs. In Senate Bill 14, we are making some changes, and the language in the committee report is doing that in a much more succinct way. So basically, on the first page, you are seeing that we're saying that at the highest income level for an individual, you would it basically decreases by 10% the amount of the rebate that you would receive until you get to an income level where you might receive a flat grant amount. And that's what we're achieving with this language on page 1 of the committee report. Again, I'm happy to answer questions. We are changing the maximum rent heat rebate amount from $600 maximum to $700. And in this amendment, we're increasing the income threshold, and we have this flat grant amount. On the second page of the committee report, we're doing it, if you look at lines 1 through 7, the same concept in terms of the language as it applies to couples. And then we are also adding that persons with disabilities who receive some income from a special needs trust, that income would not be counted in terms of their eligibility for the PTC rebate program. And beyond that, we are doing it as well for the rent side, the heating side, and that's basically the HHS committee report.
Is there any further discussion on the Health and Human Services Committee report? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of the Health and Human Services Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee report is adopted. To the Appropriations Committee report, Senator Kafalos.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, colleagues. In the Appropriations Committee report dated April 16th is basically changing the income levels, the income threshold, in order to reduce the fiscal impact to approximately $2.5 million. So that's basically what the Appropriations Committee report is doing, is decreasing the income thresholds that one might be eligible for the maximum grant, et cetera, and it's also adding an appropriations clause. I respectfully ask for your support of the Appropriations Committee report.
Is there any further discussion on the Appropriations Committee report? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of the Appropriations Committee report. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee report is adopted. To the bill. Oh, actually, we have an amendment on the desk. Mr. Majors, please read L002.
Amendment L002 to Senate Bill 14 by Senator Stedman, amend the Health and Human Services Committee report date.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move Amendment L002, and this amendment clarifies that if you are applying for the property tax heat rebate program and you are a couple, that your household income will be the determination of how your eligibility is determined. And right now, the language is the current law, you'll see, has quite a few references to married couples, and this amendment would refer to those two as spouses to make that gender neutral and more inclusive, and I ask for an aye vote.
Is there any further discussion? Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to be clear, what it states specifically is a husband and wife shall be, and that's replaced with the words spouses are. Here we are. Husband and wife is no longer the state policy. I'm going to vote no on the amendment, and I'll explain my vote on the bill a little bit later on, but it's the world we live in, right?
Is there any further discussion on L002? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of the amendment L002. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no. No. The ayes have it, and L002 is adopted. To the bill. Senator Kafalis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Again, colleagues, Senate Bill 14 is something that we first established in Colorado in 1972. The PTC program was started in 1972 to provide property tax rent assistance to low-income seniors, and then assistance for heating expenses was added in 1980, and then persons with disabilities were added in 1989. The program is administered by the Department of Revenue. However, some of the changes, some of the provisions of Senate Bill 14 are actually implementing the recommendations of the performance audit that I requested actually in 2012. We received the results of the performance audit in August of 2013. So we are looking at implementing recommendations of the performance audit to make this program work better and to target those seniors and persons with disabilities who have the needs, and to collaborate with the Department of Human Services. DOR, Department of Revenue, would still continue to administer, but they would work with the Department of Human Services in terms of outreach and evaluation of the program. So I think that's one thing that's important to take note of. But ultimately, what the bill is doing, in addition to implementing some of these recommendations, is it is increasing the maximum grant amount on the on the property tax rent side to $700 maximum if you're at the lowest income threshold. And it's also expanding the income threshold just a bit. Remember, we shrunk that down to address the fiscal impact. And it's also creating this flat grant amount. And ultimately, we're trying to target seniors because this is a lifeline, and this helps keep seniors and other persons in their homes longer. And I think it's a good thing for the state, and it allows people to have more dignity and spend their dollars in their local communities. Happy to answer questions, and I respectfully ask for your support, but happy to engage.
Senator Lundberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Having heard this in committee and having just made the statement that I think there is a place for a basic safety net, but then I also went on to state that unfortunately we just keep piling on more and more and more until everybody seems to be entitled somewhere, and we've got to just grow this. Well, I was a no vote on this bill, and I continue to be a no vote on this bill. Because it's the example of how we subsidize about everything. And you know, the problem that we run into is overall the federal government, the state government, the local governments end up the funder of so much that everyone becomes dependent upon the state. I believe there is a role for a basic safety net, but this is not it. This is that extension that expands it again and again, and makes those who are dependent wholly dependent upon government funding. That doesn't support the concept of liberty. That supports the concept of dependence. And as much as it's good to help people, is it the government's role to be the one helping, or should that not be the people of Colorado as the people of Colorado within their families, their churches, their communities? We continue to replace the people of Colorado with the government of Colorado, and this is one example. I'm a no vote.
Is there any further discussion on Senate Bill 14? Senator Koufalis.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I certainly appreciate and respect the comments made by the good senator from Berthoud, Colorado. Colleagues, I just want to make sure it's clear that the persons that are being helped by the property tax rent heat rebate program, these are seniors, persons with disabilities, veterans who are very low income. If you look at the fiscal note, you'll see what kinds of incomes we're talking about. And on the, I submit that programs such as this, where we're giving money back to people, helps their independence because it allows them more opportunities to stay in their homes longer, and it allows them to be able to engage with all the other sectors of our communities, the faith-based sector and nonprofits and others, neighbors, to help these folks, with their shoveling or whatever it might be, so they can live in their homes longer. So I think it does encourage independence, but at the same time, I totally respect the comments that were previously made. Once again, I re-ask for your support of this bill. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion before the body is the adoption of Senate Bill 14. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, no. No. The ayes have it, and Senate Bill 14 is adopted. Majority Leader Heath.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move rise and report.
The motion before the body is to rise and report. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it, and the committee will rise and report.
The Senate will come back to order. Senator Ulibarri.
Thank you, Madam President. The committee has met and had a number of bills under consideration. Mr. Majors, would you please read the report?
April 21st, 2014, Madam President, your committee of the whole basic reports that to consideration the following attached bills being second reading thereof makes following recommendations thereon. Senate Bill 12 is amended. Senate Bill 14 is amended, passed on second reading in order to gross place the counter for third reading and final passage.
Senator Ulibarri.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for the adoption of the report.
Any discussion? Question is the adoption of the committee of the whole report. Are there any no votes? With 35 ayes, 0 noes, 0 absent, 0 excused, the committee of the whole report is adopted. Senate Bill 12 is amended. Senate Bill 14 is amended, passed on second reading, ordered, engrossed, and placed on the calendar for third reading and final passage. Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. I move we labor the balance of the calendar until tomorrow.
For the motion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. We'll lay over the balance of the calendar until tomorrow. Signing of bills.
April 17, 2014, the President signed Senate Bills 27, 114, 135, and 146, House Bills 1286, 1289, and 1336.
Announcements. Senator Newell.
Thank you, Madam President. Well, today is the last day of Colorado Children's Caucus. If you received this on your desks along with the flyer, there will be panelists there from both counties and state who are going to be talking about the problems that we had talked about last time. They're talking about solutions that they're doing. So we are thrilled to have them, and it is in 356 at noon. See you there. Thanks.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. Let me just get a little, give you a little
You're allowing 1292 and 1298 in finance.
that was announced.
It was already?
Well,
I didn't hear it.
okay.
It's not on the calendar.
Excuse me, Madam President. Just on some of the committee work, the judiciary will not hear Senate Bill 193 today. The Finance Committee, that bill was read, both House Bills 1292 and 1298 were read across the desk earlier, and they will be heard in Finance tomorrow. There is no JBC this afternoon. All other committees are as scheduled. And let me just give you a little sense of the rest of the week, members. We have a lot of bills that are in committees, so we are going to continue and commit to the committee schedule today through Thursday and try to get as many of the bills out of committee as we possibly can. And then just to give you a little notice, we will be working Friday afternoon and try to deal with as many bills as we possibly can, and particularly Senate bills, to get them over to the House. But we will consider as many bills as we possibly can on Friday afternoon. So just for your personal planning. We also will not, I will not be moving to adjourn. I will be moving to recess. We have a lot of bills to be read across the desk. So again, you do not need to worry about coming back this afternoon. And I think you all understand that process. So with that, it seems like we have someone who has.
Other announcements have arrived, apparently. Senator Schwartz.
And thank you, Madam President. I ask for a moment of personal privilege.
Granted.
Thank you.
Senator Schwartz.
I just, along with Senator Johnston, would like to welcome members of the Family Leadership Training group from Eagle County, who is here to join us in the chambers. And these are our future family leaders. They are here to meet with legislators, and they're going to be presenting projects. And it's really an extraordinary program and opportunity. I just appreciate all the hard work of those that are helping facilitate the program.
Senator Johnston.
Thank you, Madam President, and I get to cheat a little bit because my sister-in-law is also here, Lisa Johnston, so I can introduce her since she's a family member. So welcome, Lisa, as part of the group. We're also delighted to have some folks from the Odyssey School here and some students who are here to visit this afternoon, and so come over and say hello to both of these great groups of advocates. Thanks so much, Madam President.
Welcome. Senator Aguilar.
Thank you, Madam Chair and members. Senator Cadman is concerned that he's going to drop dead and you're not going to know how to help him. And so we have the American Heart Association here today, and at 12:30 they'll be, at 12 o'clock they'll have lunch, at 12:30 they'll be teaching CPR, and at the very least at 1 o'clock, if you could join them in HCR 0107, they will show you what an automatic electronic defibrillator looks like and how you use it. And defibrillation is really actually very effective in sudden death, which is the way that many heart attacks present for the first time. So that'll be at 1 o'clock in HCR 107 on the defibrillator, but noon is lunch and 12:30 is CPR.
Mr. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam President. And with that, I move the Senate recess until 1 p.m. today, April 21st.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Ayes have it. The Senate will stand in recess till 1 p.m. today.